Hi, Mrs. Klein here. So, today I was thinking about the beginning of this coming school year, right? This coming week I have a new teacher orientation because I'm relatively new to the parish. I started at this school last semester. So I need to go through that training. And then the following week I have professional development before the beginning of the school year. It's like a school-wide professional development on how this school year is going to go. And then the following week school starts, right? And so there's a lot of unknowns, I think, corporately, that teachers are like sitting in a weird space before the beginning of this school year. I think a lot of us, there's a lot of unknowns, right? For example, masks, okay? Last year, at the end of last year, we were told no masks. I know they didn't wear masks for summer school, right? But, and I think they're saying that we won't be, at least in Louisiana, we won't be wearing masks this coming school year, but I have a sneaking suspicion they may change their mind on that based on the outbreaks that are happening and with this Delta variant. So that's like one unknown, right? We'll be wearing masks. I think virtual teaching is still like an option for the students, but there's a big unknown on how many students may be virtual versus how many may be in the classroom, right? Last year there was a big reduction in students who were present in the classroom because they were virtual. They chose to be virtual. So we may see increased classroom sizes compared to last year, or it could be the same. Who knows, right? What else? At our particular school, and this may be true for a lot of schools, right? There's been a change in administration, right? And I think this is a very common thing to happen, that like principals and vice principals move on to a new school or a new state, or, you know, they move up, right? And that's kind of what has happened to both my principal and vice principal. They have both moved on and moved up. So my vice principal moved on and became a principal at a private school nearby, and which great for her, congrats. And my principal has also moved up to be to a higher leadership position within our parish, related to schools and education, which again, congrats. But that's a big unknown for us. Okay, who is the new principal? I do think the position is probably filled, since they've been advertising within our parish different other principals, but they have not been advertising for ours. So I suspect they've already found somebody, but they haven't shared it with us yet. And so that's a big unknown. And then I also don't know who the next, I assume we already have we have two vice principals, and the other one is still with us, which is great because that allows for a little bit of stability. But we don't know. I don't know who the other vice principals. And I was a little bit more familiar with the vice principal that left us, because she, I think, engaged more with like the English teachers, and like our evaluations and stuff. So that just makes it even more. I mean, I'm not worried, but I do think a lot of teachers are worried because they just don't know. It's a big unknown for a lot of us, right? Oh, let me see. We got some. Okay. So there's that. But in addition to that, I have a lot of personal unknowns. So at the end of last year, I think it was heavily
suggested that I would be teaching the same grade, which would make me very happy, right? I taught 5th grade last semester. I would love to stick with that this coming year, if at all possible. And I made those wishes known. And, but I don't, with a new principal, and then I also lost a coworker, right? So, one of my English teacher, 5th grade English teacher coworkers has left and joined the private school that was also nearby, which great for her. I think it'll make her really happy. And she was such a great help to me, right? She was really someone I could lean on, which all of the English teachers in our team were people that I leaned on and really helped me get through last semester and really just mentored me. I think all of them did that, which is again why I'm not worried, right? It's sad to see that someone that you really appreciated go, but I know the whole team was really strong, and I'm again not worried. And so that's one of the lessons that I'm slowly learning, is to like relax about this kind of stuff, because job changes happen. I did it. I personally did it so many times. And so to see other people do it, it's like, oh, okay. You know, I think if I were younger, I would have panicked more, or I would have like sat around and talked about it with friends and family and just rehashed this big unknown of changing admin. And I would have just been so upset about it and worried about it. And now that I have changed jobs so many times, and I've seen at every school I've been to, admin has changed, right? And I've just learned to go with the flow on that kind of stuff, because you just can't predict, you know, when people are going to leave. You don't know why they're leaving. You know, usually it's to move on and move up, which is always congratulations for them. So I just can't worry about such things. I just have to stay in my own lane and do what I gotta do, right? So hopefully I still have 5th grade. The other unknown is, because I lost my other English coworker, I don't know if I'm going to be in the room that I was in last semester, or if I'm going to be in this new room. So the room I was in last semester was already decorated by the previous teacher, who's going to be kind of in and out. You know, I think she's still at our school, and she's still going to be around, and in fact she may come back. You know, I took over her position for a short period of time, but she may or may not. You know, it's just kind of up in the air how involved she will be in this coming year. So I may still be in the room from last year that's already decorated, or I may be in a new room that I have to decorate, which again, I've just decided to not worry about, right? I think it would be easy for me to panic and, like, you know, I think if I were a brand new teacher, I would have worried about trying to plan my room and how is it going to be decorated and which space am I going to get, and I would have just been so anxious. And now, as you know, going into my 5th or 6th year of teaching, taught 5 years, going into my 6th year of teaching, I've just learned to relax about it, right? Because rooms and admin come and go, but you have your job and you have your students, and you don't need a perfect room to teach students, right? I think a clean room is what you need, right? You need a room that's clean, that's organized, but it doesn't need to be dressed to the nines, right? I think that's preferred. I love creating a fun, educating space, but it's just not necessary for students to learn, right? I mean, I would love to create, you know, my ideal classroom would be like a coffee shop type setting where students still have their desks, right? But then you have your extra like flexible seating. I know I saw one of the teachers had like 2 extra round tables in her room where you could do group work, and it looked so relaxing. Like, even though students had their desks, it looked like, you know, for group work you could have the kids like rotate in and do other things and really have a comfortable space. It looked so comfortable and pleasant, and like some teachers had fairy lights, and it looked like some teachers had
just really, really comfortable learning spaces. And that's what I want. But if I don't get what I want, oh well. Like, if I have to, I'm sure I'll find out what I'm going to have and what's going to happen in that first week of professional development before the school starts, right? And within that week, I'm sure even if I have to work a little bit late or work on the weekends, I'm sure I can create a space that's good enough to start the year, right? The students don't need all the extra bells and whistles, right? They just need you to know what your lessons are going to be. And you need an organized space so you know where your paperwork is and stuff. But that's really about it. And every year I've started to learn, and honestly, I think sometimes there is such a thing as too much, right? Like I said, I want a comfortable learning space, but I have seen classrooms that are way too busy, way too loud, or, there's just stuff covering every single wall, and it can get too busy, right? I have ADD and ADHD, and I in some ways it's kind of nice to have something to look at. You want a comfortable space, but in other ways it can be distracting. So I just don't think it's something to worry about at this point in time. As long as I can just show up and do my job and go home, that's what the kids need, right? They don't need me to be stressed out and putting all this time into decorating, but then not be ready for my lessons, right? And if it takes me 2 weeks to decorate my room at the start of school, after school starts, okay, then it takes me 2 weeks, and that's what's acceptable, or what I'm available for, or what I can do. You can't plan for every setback or eventuality, and so that's one of the things I'm learning over the years is to relax. Admin will change, rooms may change, but you just got to be prepared for your lessons, and that's the main thing, right? Decorating can come second. I do want to kind of start looking a little at Pinterest, but even then I may not even, Pinterest can be such a wormhole. Pinterest can be so elaborate with their plans and stuff. But I just don't think I function. I think it would be easier for me to just pick a theme and then go, in fact, maybe not even pick a theme. Probably just go to the teacher store, look at the colors they want, decide a color scheme, and then just buy all the colors, buy all the borders and paper that go with that color scheme, and then be done. It just does not need to be elaborate. And maybe over time I can say, and that's the other thing, is we don't know how many kids we're going to have. So it's easy to say, have 2 extra flexible seating tables. But then if we have maxed out 36, kids in a classes, there's not going to be room for those flexible seating tables, right? That all of that has to go. This past year, we had 20 kids per class, which is unheard of, right? Normally they have, I think, 32 to 36 kids per class if we have no virtual students, right? And so I think, I can't even plan for something like that, because I don't know how many kids we're going to have, and I don't think they know either. I wouldn't imagine admin knows. Parents can say this is what they think they're going to do, but then in the first 2 weeks, parents change their mind, right? Which is totally understandable. You think something's going to work with a kid and then it doesn't. That's understandable. But that makes it very hard for a teacher to plan for extra seating when you may not have that kind of space. You may have to have a room full of desks because that's the space you have. So I'm just not going to worry about it. I think one of the good things about not worrying about it and waiting till school starts is I'll know what I need after school starts, right? Once school starts, now I know what classroom I'm going to get. Okay. It's hard to plan when you have too many unknowns. It's once I get there, it's I'm going to be getting a room that's already decorated. Okay, then that means I can focus on this instead of that. So just not wasting my time.
okay? Or I get a completely undecorated, completely new classroom. Okay, well, this is what I know I need to focus on. Or after school starts, right? I'll realize, oh, we have small classroom sizes this year. That means I can do this instead. I can have tables, extra like round tables for group discussions and stuff. But I won't know that until school starts, right? I may not even know that till 2 weeks after school starts, right? Kids will come and then they'll drop or they'll move or they'll leave in the first 2 weeks of school. It happens constantly, right? So I think it's wise to not worry about it, to wait to see what unfolds. I think the more information you have, the sooner you can start planning and decorating, which is wise, because then you don't have to worry about it at the beginning of the year. Like, I do think if you know exactly what classroom you're going to have, and you know the exact classroom sizes, and you know all of these things, I think it is wise to decorate your classroom early on. But it's just not necessary for educating, right? It's just not necessary. You being ready to teach is necessary. You being organized is necessary. But you decorating your classroom is secondary. And so, since I personally have a lot of unknowns, that changes when I get things done. And that means I'm not going to get these things done until probably the week before school or maybe the week after school. And I think that's okay. I just got to do the best I can with what I have. And so that's my recommendation, that if you're feeling a lot of anxiety for this upcoming year, just don't worry about it. Kids will be educated whether or not your classroom is dressed to the nines, right? Okay, I have to go shopping because I'm going to a Lindsey Stirling concert tomorrow night. So I hope you have a good day. Bye.